Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to make it short and sweet. I'm just going to go over the directions for the one-pager assignments as they relate to the 7 habits of highly effective teens. All right, here we go. While you're reading, you want to consider some of these questions. Basically, the first few questions are about the reading itself. So ask yourself, what's the author saying? What's their message? Do you agree or disagree? Which quotes stand out to you? Because you are going to have to incorporate quotes into your response. So which quotes stand out? Why do they stand out to you? And then secondly, kind of think about how you reflect on this reading. So in what ways are you already doing some of these things? How could you incorporate some of them into your life? And what might be the outcome if you did incorporate some of these habits into your life? Think about the writing to be in 2 parts. The first part of the response is going to be an analytical response. This is where you're discussing what the author's saying. You're analyzing it using evidence from the text. Think of what we've already discussed this year as it pertains to writing. So you need to have a clear claim, you need to have specific evidence, you need to have thoughtful analysis. This is like the reader response portion of it, where you're really just picking apart what the author is saying, using quotes to substantiate your argument. The second piece of your one-pager is going to be more of a reflective response. So this is where you're going to shift to how this incorporates or how this affects your own life. So how could you incorporate these habits into your life? How are you incorporating these habits into your life? How could you extend the ideas that the author's talking about? And if you disagree with what the author is saying, if you don't think there's value in some of the habits that he's presenting, explain why you don't think there's any value. So again, think of the writing in 2 parts. The first is kind of an analytical reader response. The second part is more of a reflective piece. So the structure of the one-pager, actually, I'm going to jump to the second bullet. It's probably going to be anywhere from 1 page to 1.5 pages. I think in order to address all of these aspects and really, make it detailed, you're probably going to be closer to the 1.5 page mark. You do want it to be an MLA format, but it can be single spaced for this particular one. Ensure that you have multiple paragraphs. I know sometimes when we get to writing, we just make it one big long paragraph. So make sure you are breaking it up and make sure that your ideas are organized in a logical way so that each paragraph flows seamlessly to the next. You do need to have a proper MLA heading. And your quotes need to be embedded properly and condensed. So all the stuff we've been talking about in class, you want to condense down the quote, you want to embed it with context, you want to have the page number referenced there, all the proper citations. Really try to avoid using personal pronouns until you get down to the reflective portion. So for your first few paragraphs where you're doing more of that analytical response, try to keep it really academic and avoid using I, you, we. However, when you get down to the reflection piece where you're giving your opinion, it seems logical that at that point you would then be using I incorporated into my life in this way. So feel free to use pronouns down in that second part. I know I'm talking about the paper as being broken up into these 2 different sections, but you don't need to have a page break or a line or subject headings. You can just make it one seamless paper. You don't need to indicate that you're shifting to the reflective portion, but their transition should be clear. My thought is that when you start to shift into the more reflective piece, again, you're going to be using those personal pronouns. You're going to be reflecting on the actual reading. So that transition should be clear for me as a reader. You don't need any other indications that you're shifting to the reflection. The second to last slide is the scoring. Right now, it's going to be credit, no credit. So I'm looking at 3 aspects of your paper. I'm looking at the reader response, I'm looking at your quotations, and I'm looking at your personal reflection. So with that analytical reader response portion, that first part of your paper, I'm looking that you do have those quotations, and for each quote that you are including, you have some thoughtful commentary, some thoughtful analysis that you're talking about those quotes that you're picking out. And that would give you credit in that particular category of the rubric. If they're lacking or they're underdeveloped, if your analysis is merely just restating what the quote says, or if it shows that you didn't really understand the book, you're going to be more in the developing side. The quotations, you need to have 2. So for each reader response, or I'm sorry, for each one pager, you're going to have 2 quotes from the reading. It needs to be correctly cited, author, page number. They need to be embedded with context. If you have those, you'll be in proficient. If you lack the 2 quotes or they're cited improperly, you're going to be under developing. And then lastly, that personal reflection. If your reflection connects the reading to your own life and you've clearly internalized the lesson, you're making sense of it, you're bringing it kind of beyond just being the reading and really applying it to your life, you'll get proficient. If it's kind of lacking, if it's more surface level, if it's more of just you regurgitating what you read, you're going to be more in the developing. Lastly, just to kind of summarize this whole thing, the one pager is really looking for you to identify and analyze the author's points while reflecting on the application to your own life. So you're looking at what is this author saying and how does it relate to me? You're basically practicing everything we've done this year. So close reading, analyzing tone, looking closely at authors' points, writing claims, incorporating evidence, providing thoughtful analysis. It's everything that we've done just kind of condensed into one activity. And then last point, if you need any modifications or adjustments or any more clarity, please email me. Otherwise, each weekly work is going to be due Sunday at midnight. You can work ahead if you want to, but know that the assignments won't be open until Wednesday of each week. So you are going to have to come back to make sure that you submit it. And that's it. That is the breakdown for the one pagers. If you have any further questions or need any clarity, you have 2 choices. You can either just email me a quick question, or you can join me or email me that you need to do a conference or use office hours on Monday at either 9:30 or 2. So just shoot me an email and let me know what works for you. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon.